Afternoon, everyone. Welcome to edition number 19 of Merritt in the Morning. I am your co-host, Brad Klopfenstein. This is Jim Merritt, former state senator, 30 years. Instead of mornings from Cafe Audrey, today we have a special edition.
Afternoon with AJ.
Afternoon. I like afternoon with AJ's. We're at AJ's Bar and Grill at 79th and Fall Creek Road. So very excited about that. Let's get up our slides so that the people actually know what's happening here. There we go. So Merritt in the Morning. Now see how we do this? You can actually see us in the corner there, Kevin. So
you guys just think I wouldn't get up in the morning and we're in the afternoon or what?
Absolutely. I know bar owners.
What did you hear?
We are brought to you as always by Alpsbrow Beer. So very, very Bavarian. Also brought to you by Stockyards Bank and Trust since 1904. Central Indiana locations at 71st and Binford, Carmel, downtown Indianapolis, Plainfield, and St. Francis Hospital. As we mentioned, we're coming to you from AJ's Bar and Grill today. There's the address, 9755 Fall Creek Road. It's in the Kroger Plaza, also known as Geist Plaza, I believe. So now that we've got those formalities out of the way, here we are. You are Kevin LaBarr, co-owner of AJ's, Amore, and now it's the Wine Garage.
Yeah, it was called the 305 Wine Garage.
Right.
We've renamed it to AJ's Wine and Dine Garage. Signage is in the works. The interior signage is done. So many people didn't realize that food was served there. So I thought that we should put dine in the menu or food or on the name. I'm sorry, one way or another.
You know, it's just a matter of time before Jake Burgess messes with your sign and calls it AJ's Dine and Dash Bar.
We have such a loving relationship.
There's some sort of love there.
It's amazing how many people don't realize that we're friends and just bantering.
Yeah.
One of the reasons why we're here this morning or this afternoon is that I had heard of Kevin's innate ability to keep people in the marketplace, in his establishments. He has an entrepreneurial spirit, and I think a lot of us are trying to figure out how we can keep employees from jumping from bar to bar or restaurant, grocery store, and how Kevin has had a history of incentivizing employees on different ways to understand how they tick other than a salary. And I know you pay your employees better than the industry average. But I was just curious because you're a serial entrepreneur and so many things going on. We talked a little bit about Savannah, Georgia, but with Klopp being president of the Chamber of Commerce and you being a member of the Lawrence Chamber of Commerce, Greater Lawrence Chamber of Commerce, I think we want to have a set of interviews with different individuals who are in the workplace, who are trying to attract individuals to work for them, because labor is the biggest part of ownership in most times. And that's, Kevin, that's why I wanted to have you on. Plus the food is terrific here at AJ's.
Well, labor is the big issue now. Always has been, but obviously it's since the pandemic, it's truly much worse than it was.
Big factor.
Big factor. Cost of goods, obviously. Your three well, I say two big things are cost of goods and labor, and they both raised so fast, and we don't see an end to it. So what we wanted to do, I've always wanted to do in business. 43 years I've been a car dealer. We had a corporation named Track Automotive, TRAC, and it's kind of funny. We used to have some thrifty car sales locations, and it stands for thrifty car sales. No, it doesn't. Track stands for trust, respect, and cooperation, and we have lived by it. I have a business partner in Savannah. He taught me a lot. Dr. Rick Vedman, can't say that. Dr. Vic Redman is a clinical psychologist. We had hired him. He's wrote several books and done some great work on culture and how to do things and have a cohesive work environment to make people want to come to work. Almost like it's a privilege to come work for us. And for us, it's a privilege to have them working for us.
They have high value for
When
you.
it's, yeah, when it's working both ways, like it should. It's tough in this business and after all these years in the car business and transferring into the restaurant business, because I'm not very smart. It's I had these visions early on of how I wanted to do things, and man, they're gonna love what we do, how we treat people, how the employee is number one. I mean, truly number one, because people say, "Oh, well, the customer's number one." Well, we fire customers all
Just
the
like you do
time,
employees,
know,
yeah.
If the employee is not number one, there's no way the customer is gonna be number two or three. They're just not. It's not gonna work. Now, do we hit it all the time? We don't. We try hard, and you're dealing with personalities. We like to think if we failed, we have a clean conscience because we did everything that we could do to make it work. Now, there are sometimes an employee will come to us and, we don't think this is the way, or this is how it should be, or whatever. And I'm always like, state your business case. Tell me why. What should we be doing different? And we'll talk about it. Of course, always the biggest factor is just compensation. How much are you going to pay? What can you pay me and stuff? And I beg people to look at the big picture. We will compensate you. There's more to it than that, though. You want to be able to be happy. Not, oh, I gotta go to work.
Yeah.
I gotta go to work. This is awesome. They're gonna be good. And like I said, our success rate is probably 70%. I'd like it to be 100.
Yeah.
That's
70% is pretty darn good.
70%. I look at employees, or I look at the situation. I've learned it, especially in the restaurant industry. It's a thirds. The top third of our staff is just so good. We coin this phrase, they'll kill a moose for us, and we'd kill a moose for them. And it's not that they can't do no wrong, but they really can't do no wrong.
Mhm.
When they do, there's something they just do so much that we don't care.
They care
It's
about the
good.
business.
It's good.
Yeah.
It's good. When you can put something on the floor and watch 3 employees walk by. I'm sorry, math's not working on. One walk by, and then next one walk by, and the next one, he's in that top third. He'll pick it up, whatever's on the ground, or see something.
It's nice to have
move a
employees
table.
invested like that.
Exactly. So then you have the second third that are really good too. I mean, they're really good, and they want to be like the top third, and they're trying to come up, and these people are trying to pull them up. They want them to be good, and they see the big picture. Unfortunately, the bottom third, you pay $1 million a year. They just don't. They don't have it in them, and they'll go to the next place, and that's tough on a business, because when you're training somebody, you have 2 people on the payroll at one time doing the same job when you only need one, because we're training. Towards the end of the pandemic, towards the end of the shutdowns and stuff, I had all our managers meet us at my house with, I say co-owner, my wife, Cora is the co-owner. And I said, let's just pay these people almost a ridiculous amount of money in this business. But we'll set some ground rules. If Bob and Jane are fighting for some reason or not getting along, they better figure it out before it gets to Kevin and Cora.
Yeah.
Because you'll both go. You can't bring that toxicity. Is that
Toxic atmosphere.
Yeah, you just please leave it at the door. Don't bring it. We all have bad days, and we're forgiving of that. And it's okay every now and then to say, man, I'm having a bad day. I'm actually having one today until you guys got here.
Yeah. Oh, thank you.
I've had a lot of things happen today. I was like, my wife, when I left a while ago, she's like, you all right? I'm like, I am, but man, I could tell you some of the stupid things that have happened today, but it's just the way it is. Anyway, don't leave it at the door. But it's okay to come in and say, I'm having one of those days, and we'll rally around you and help you. You might bring us down for a minute, but let's do the right thing. I don't know what the answer is to get that bottom third motivated enough.
Well, you offer the culture for them to have the opportunity to enjoy working here.
We think so too. Because to have 2/3 is kind of unheard of in this business. I learned not too long ago, man, I wish I had my facts straight, but the average tenure in this business is something crazy, like 90 days.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just so low. I mean, it's just, I knew that number not too long ago. And it actually came from one of our food vendors that were having webinars and stuff and talking about it.
Well, there are some people I think that are just probably unemployable, and they probably go through a dozen jobs before they realize they're unemployable, or they'll come to you and work for 2 or 3 weeks and then go down the street and go
Yep.
2 or 3 weeks.
And you do pay above industry levels,
We
correct?
definitely do.
Yeah.
Definitely
And that's a real bonus.
do. And people have their school of thought on this. There's a lot of sites on Facebook for the industry, the service industry, and I'm a car dealer, so there's a lot of sites about that. Some of us talk about employees all day long, some of us talk about customers all day long, and then some of them are the mix of the industries and and what happens. But the tipping part of it, so the front of the house staff, anyone doesn't know, front of the house is your bartenders, your servers, some of the bussers and stuff like that. They get an hourly rate, and then the customer kicks in by tipping. It is the system used in the United States. Some will say, oh, in Europe they don't. We're not in Europe.
We're not
You're not in
Europe.
Europe.
Luckily.
I'm in Lawrence and Indianapolis, Indiana, and this is how we do. Now, I have a 300% rule in both businesses, but we're talking about this industry. 300% rule is we offer 100% of our products, we're supposed to anyway, to 100% of our customers 100% of the time. We obviously want the guest check to be as high as it could be, but yet you're wanting to pay it because it was good. You know, the beer was cold, the food was on point, the service was great, and you'll do it. This restaurant, we had servers who look us up. They know what we're doing here, and Amore, Italian kitchen next door. They know what we're doing. They know we have high marks on all the platforms. I don't look at Yelp. Long story there. We could do a whole segment on that. Because explain to you why. But Google, Facebook, and several others, we get high marks, and we make mistakes, but we always try to make it right at the end. And some people are just some people you can't make happy at all,
Right.
And we deal with those people too,
Yeah.
with a smile.
Well, not only that you pay people a reasonable amount of money in their paycheck, but there's a rumor that you brought a Lamborghini by so that everybody could drive it.
Yeah.
That's kind of why we're here today, because I thought that other than compensation, there's got to be an edge for someone such as yourself to keep people interested and have them invested in your company. Tell us the story behind that.
Well, it's funny enough, kind of got lambasted over that at the end of the Lamborghini. I'll explain to you why. I brought the Lamborghini here because I'm a car dealer. We do a lot of exotic cars. And I brought the Lamborghini, the first one, when we opened Amore. And I thought, okay, I'm going to put an Italian car in front of the restaurant and take some cool pictures. And I still have them. They were great. And on social media, people were saying, oh, you're just a pompous this or that. And I was like, okay, all
No
right.
good deed.
Yeah, no kidding.
Come on. And so that particular car, we've done several of them, Ferraris and Corvettes. Not too long ago, I had a plaid Tesla, which is the fastest car on the planet right now, and take these guys for rides, or let them drive.
Employees.
Employees, and both male and female employees. They're just funny how there's no.
So you took them for rides.
Took them for rides, or let some of them drive it, and then I see it on their social media later and stuff. It made a big, a big deal for them.
I heard about it.
It is.
So tell me, so you've been in the car business. What has your career path been, and what are the similarities between the car business and the restaurant business, and where do they diverge greatly, and what were your surprises?
So I started as a young kid. I always worked, whether it was paper routes, um, knocking on doors, cleaning garages. I grew up in Gary, Indiana first, and then ended up in Bloomington because my father was an educator. We would love the snow when it snowed up there. We got snow shovels, and you start knocking on doors, and just did it. Well, moved to Bloomington, it didn't snow as much. So we're looking for ways to make money, and I came up with a lawn mowing gig. I had a girlfriend whose dad had all these International Cub tractors.
Yeah.
Can I use those and make us some money and stuff? He let me do it. So he owned a furniture store, and I had a couple jobs, and I delivered furniture at his furniture store. I was only 16 years old, and working for him, and I cut my leg with a chainsaw doing some work for him, so I couldn't deliver furniture anymore. I said, Ron, let me sell some furniture. No, you're too young. We can't do this. I begged him, and he said, okay, we're gonna let you sell furniture. I made those old guys look so bad. I sold furniture to like you couldn't believe. And this gal came in looking at bunk beds for her kids, and I knew who her husband was. He was a manager of a Ford store. And he comes in and said, hey, if these things are crazy expensive. She comes in, do not sell her these. I'm like, what? So she does go back in and she buys them. He calls me up. I said, this is not Kmart. I can't tell her. First off, you can't bring them back. I can't tell a grown woman that she can't buy these because her husband said she couldn't.
Yeah.
You tell her, not me. So he remembered that. Well, fast forward, I go to buy a car, a new truck actually, and he's still there. And I said, why don't you guys give me a job selling cars? And he says, well, we don't need anyone. That guy pops his head in the office and he says, are you the guy that sold Sam's wife those bunk beds? I said, yeah. He goes, you have a job. And bad thing is I told him I was 18 years old and I wasn't. And a couple months later, I turned 18 and said, hey guys, now I'm 18.
Yeah. Just forget about that.
You should ask for
2 months.
documentation.
Yeah.
That was back in the day. But so that led to my car business career. And I left them after 6 years and opened up my own used car lot, and then went in a Ford store, and my partner at a Chevy store, a Nissan store. Those have all we've since sold them. Matter of fact, we sold the Nissan store in 08, in August of 08, the day after we closed. Lehman Brothers crashed.
Wow.
It seemed like the smartest guys in the world. We were kind of lucky. I mean, we saw what's happening. But so that was the summer of 08. This was the closest AJ's was the closest place, it was called the Grill back then, to my house. I had moved over to this side of town because the Nissan store was in Muncie. I didn't want to drive to Muncie or live in Muncie, sorry. So
I don't know why you wouldn't want to do that.
right.
Sorry, Muncie.
No, I like Muncie. I just my kids were in this area and stuff, and I just thought it'd be easier to drive to work
Of course.
than to do that. So I'd already moved from the other side of Indianapolis over to here. Anyway, this was the closest place, and I watched it kind of go up and go down and kind of hitting the skids. And my youngest was living in Colorado. He turned 21. He came to town and he said, Dad, let's go have our first legal beer together. Like, let's do it. We'll go to the closest place to us. Sat on the end of the bar up there, and we both got some food, got a beer. The beer was good and cold. The food was horrible. I told the bartender, who was still here with us, tell the guy that owns the place that I'll fix it for free. She's like, what do you know about the restaurant business? I said, warn this guy, I promise you. So he came out and said, would you really do that? Yeah. And I literally sat in the back of this place. They were trying to spend their way into a profit. on one end and save their way into a profit on the other, which you can do neither. You know, you have to have the balance. So I sat back there, got him out of contracts. Oh, I do need to say this. My middle child, Corey, after he got out of college, he went to work for Chrysler up and down the Eastern Seaboard as a sales rep. And he was getting kind of tired of it. He said, "I'd like to come home and run the company business with you." And okay, that works out perfect because I think I want to buy a restaurant. He's like, "What do you know about owning a restaurant?" I kept hearing that. So he did, moved home. We started it. I created a menu and we ran. I knew how I wanted to do things. We could make a lot more money than we do. We really could. I think about this all the time. I could pull back on this. I could smaller portions, drop and fry. When we got here, everything was out of a bag or drop and fry. It wasn't the real deal like we are now. I mean, if you saw how small this kitchen is here, it'd blow your mind that we can do the amount of business that we do here, especially at this restaurant. And this area wanted it so badly.
Mhm.
I mean, they wanted it. Well, in the beginning, the hours, hi, Chef Chino. In the beginning, the hours were so crazy. They still are, but I mean, I just worked nonstop. Everyone said, "How can you do that?" I'm like, I've been in the car business all my life. As an owner or a manager, you got there at 7:30 in the morning and you were there until the last customer left. If that was 10:30,
Mhm.
midnight, I mean, that's just the way it was. So I'm actually working fewer hours in the restaurant business than I was in the car business.
That's amazing.
So I learned that.
So hold that thought. We're going to reset. You are watching Merritt in the Morning with your hosts, Jim Merritt and Brad Klopfenstein. Today, we are talking to co-owner of AJ's Bar and Grill, Kevin LaBarr, and we are on his stage with his beautiful mural of downtown Indianapolis behind us. Thank you very much to Stockyards Bank and Trust for sponsoring the Merritt in the Morning show. Central Indiana locations, Benford, Carmel, downtown, Plainfield, and St. Francis. Thank you to Alpsbrow Beer. Remember, so very, very Bavarian, ask for it by name. So Kevin, continue your story. You're the only person on earth who buys into the bar business and works less hours than they were doing before.
Yeah.
So-
Because the workload was so hard before, I promise you.
Yeah.
That's why I was able to do it. Everyone always, I've got mad skills in the kitchen. I just always have. I guess I was 8 years old. I don't really remember this. My mom said I went to spend the night with some friends, a kid, and came home. She goes, "Well, how was it? Did you have fun?" "Yeah, it's okay." She goes, "Why, what's wrong?" I said, "Well, they used margarine instead of butter." And I didn't get fat on accident, you know.
Yes.
So I knew that I could cook, and everyone has always said, "You should open a restaurant. You should buy a restaurant." And I was just scared to death because I've always heard the easiest way to make $1 million in the restaurant business is to start with two.
Yeah, exactly.
We have
Talk about your two other restaurants.
so we have Amore Italian Kitchen. There was a guy had put a Mexican restaurant in next to us. It was vacant. I guess it was a Pizza King once before.
Yeah.
And another Italian restaurant of some kind. I was told, and you guys might know
Yeah,
that.
Pizza King, yeah.
Well, someone said there was another time before that. I don't know. But he puts in a Mexican restaurant in the typical, bright orange and yellow and
Yeah.
all those colors and stuff. And we had a kind of a rough way to go in the beginning when he was doing that because it was in the middle of winter and he was shellacking. He was making all the furniture himself and shellacking and stuff. And we had to close a couple days. They called fire department stuff because the fumes were coming in. It was just so bad. Well, then, so I was kind of mad at the guy for a good while, and then we calmed down and I start watching that, we're packed, the parking lot's full, and I drive by and they've got 2 or 3 people in there.
Yeah.
4 people. On a good day, they had 6, 7, 8 people. I thought, wow, they're not going to make it. So when I renegotiated my lease here at AJ's, I said I want first right of refusal on 12 free months. Next door, 9757 Fall Creek. And I got the lease and it wasn't in there. And I said, "Guys, I'm not gonna do this." "Oh, Kevin, he's brand new. They're gonna be fine." I said, "He's not. It's not. Unfortunately, I hate to see anyone go through that, but he's not." So actually kind of what had happened too is before the pandemic, we had live music 4 nights a week. We're on the stage right now.
Mhm.
And during one of those nights, I kind of sauntered over there and went to the bar area. I was like, oh my gosh, you could really hear it through the wall. I said, we got to control that space, so that's when I said I want to put police there. I had no idea what concept I wanted to do, but I thought I could do something. Darn it. I thought I could do something over there that would work, if not expand AJ's.
Yeah.
And everyone thought we should do that, but I thought, you know what, another concept would be cool. Thought about Cajun, thought about seafood and stuff. Growing up in the I'm sorry, guys.
It's okay.
Um,
You're a business owner.
yeah, and it is one of my other locations calling. When we I lost my train of thought, I'm sorry. Oh, growing up in northern Indiana, all these pockets, my parents were Catholic, my dad was Catholic. Every time there was a funeral, usually some weddings, the food was always Italian. It was so good. And I somehow ended up with a lot of those recipes. And then I tweaked a lot myself. So we decided on Italian, went to a test kitchen at one of our food vendors, and we opened July 18th of 19. You go through the growing pains. The building hated me. The guy who put that place in over there, we bought a lot of his equipment. We bought all of it actually, but kind of find out he didn't buy anything new. It was all refurbished. And not every day, every hour, something broke for the first 3 months. I mean, it was just brutal, which would hurt your service.
Mhm.
Like, oh my God, we're shooting ourselves in the foot. We're gonna look like buffoons here. We can't, the products coming out late, and it was good, it was coming out late. There's just so many different things. Well, about 90 days in, had an issue with a chef we'd hired to settle on a guy, and about 90 days into it, maybe 120, we're really coming along. I'm like, this is good. We're doing things here. The public's loving it. Even when the air conditioning is only working on half their hour. So this is great. We get through the holidays. We're coming into March, which is a really good month here. Figured it would be there as well. And then, of course, the pandemic hits. And that's not good for a new business.
No, no, it's not.
We reacted fast. And honestly, I think the success, one of the reasons that AJ's and Amore Italian Kitchen are so successful now, believe it or not, was how we treated carryout. How we adapted to the carryout situation, carryout only situation during the shutdowns. The food was hot. It was on time. It was efficient. We had people leaving $1,000 tips on $20 orders, $500 tips on $20 orders. People buying gift cards like you've never seen, knowing that we could be gone tomorrow. It was incredible what they did.
Nice support.
Yeah, it was just fantastic.
And you earned it.
It was what I'm saying. We believe. I think that's kind of why our staff is so solid now too, is because our customers all the time don't go anywhere. Don't leave. I ask them, how's the food today? Good as always. You just feel so good to hear that when you're working that hard and trying to do it. And the staff, Cora and I can only do so much. Cora, our daughter-in-law Norma is our general manager. Chef Chino, who just walked by. He does the work of 3 people. He's got the personality of 6, but he how Norma gets the transfer through the rest. We get the transfer to Norma and to other people. What our vision, what we want. How Chino does it with his staff. When the health department walks in here, I've always seen this in restaurants. Someone keeps that person busy for a minute up front while everyone's in back doing all that stuff.
Yeah.
Chino's like, don't stop. Harley, come on back. There's nothing to fear.
That's the way it should be.
Nothing to
It's
fear.
absolutely the way. If you're doing it right, that's the way it should.
It's always just like, and she always wants me to walk with her and stuff. And she always says, you don't need him. You're fine. Stuff. So, it's we have been rewarded for what we do every day, which rightfully so. I think we should be.
Well, it's obvious that you're dedicated. It's a labor of love. And it sounds like Moray is a real success now.
It is. So that's what, yeah, that's what we're going with. That was Amore. It really is. And Amore has steady growth. I mean, this year, 2.2% is what we've figured out a month. That's good growth in this,
And you're,
in this
your
business.
AJ's out, out
Well,
east,
so then the wine garage,
the
we
wine garage.
took it over, in June.
And where is that?
So it's on 305 South Main Street in Fortville, right down from my buddy Jake at Fox Garden.
Okay.
We're the building with that mural
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's painted on the side. Actually, I designed a sign that kind of matches that mural a little bit. So when it's going up, it's just the neatest concept. Everybody knows, you can go to the liquor store or grocery store and buy a bottle of wine for a decent price. You go to a restaurant, it's 3-4 times what it would cost you.
Yeah.
You know, most people get it. The margins are small in this business. They're small. I mean, there is just hardly any room for error, and in part of it is alcohol. Obviously, you can have a Crown and Coke for less than $7 at home, but you can't at a restaurant.
Yeah.
And there's a reason. But you're out, you're being pampered, you're being treated well. You're waiting on. I always say, what do we do here? We have the great food, great beverages, great service, and great friends. Whether you came in here with that friend or you leave with a new friend. I mean, we promote it. Band nights are fun here because when we're busy, I say, okay, we're full. I'm going to pair you with 2 people. I know they're awesome. They're good people. You're going to like them. We have several sets of customers here that now vacation together and stuff.
That's great.
Well, this one group, they crack me up, but Denise, you are, they keep set anyone with us. Now they're all, I mean, they go to the Bahamas, they went to Italy, I think they just do all this stuff together. And
You bring
because we
people
put them together.
Yeah.
Yeah. The friends part of it is really big to us. So the wine garage, we have a wall of wine as you walk in with the reds and the whites and the sparklets and everything. And you pick out a bottle of wine and they're from $12 to, because we have some high-end stuff, maybe 50, 55. But that sweet spot, the $17 to $24, you're going to get a really good bottle of wine that anywhere else is going to be a $40, $50, $60 bottle of wine. If it's red, you just take it to the table. We take the tag, and we know by that we have to put a new one out. If it's white, we take the bottle. We have a cooler and we replace it with a cold one. The menu is not as in depth there. It's a much smaller menu as it is these two restaurants. But there's great stuff between shareables, flatbreads, a slider of the week, like we do here, a flatbread of the week. My guys got any ideas too. I've come up with every conceivable flatbread idea and slider idea that you can eat.
I was gonna say, well, Fortville's the land of pizza places, so it's
they are. And then we have great sandwiches. A brunch, Saturday and Sunday brunch, and with some neat things on stuff. And it's not a bacon and egg kind of thing. It's some cool stuff on there. But there's 2 entrees, and they rotate. Sometimes they're on for 2 weeks, sometimes 1 week, depending on how well they are.
if it's left over from week 1.
Yeah. Jake said that I did I think an Italian tasting or one of the tastings. And then we ran some of that food later in the week. Goes leftovers.
Well, it sounds like that's on its way to a successful.
We believe so.
Yeah.
They're obviously with the road construction there, and we really took a blow a couple of weeks ago. We were waiting for, is that 67?
Yeah.
And we're waiting for 67 to open up both directions. It did, but guess what they did?
You can't turn north.
They closed Main Street and the street behind us.
Yeah. Oh, the one behind you too?
Yeah. So we're like the dead end. I was like, wow, I didn't see this. Now I say close Main Street. They closed the ingress from you can't.
So yeah, you can approach it from the north, But you're right, you can't get on it off of 67.
Yeah.
And that's been an ongoing project that's going to go for another year. It's
Yeah, someone asked me the other day, when will it be done? I said, I think by 2048. We're proud of all three
Yeah.
places.
Well, I'm really glad that you sat with us for a little while today. And we know businesses, corporate, small business are having a difficult time recruiting and keeping employees. And I'm so glad because I've been bugging Klopp about this forever because
Yep.
the idea of you hear so much in the economy about workforce and you've got some great ideas here on how to make your employees the family and have them invested. And I'm just really glad. And I hope that if you're watching and you have a clever or interesting way of keeping your workforce or recruiting a workforce, we'd like to hear from you.
Recruiting from within is always the best. We offer, a lot of places do, obviously, incentives to our
Mhm.
employees who bring people. We have a lot of nepotism that some people say is, is not good because one person goes, they all go. We've had that happen once, obviously.
Mhm.
But we have so many families within this family. I mean, there's four. There's a couple of three. There's a couple. Well, there's 3 or 4 that have two. Well, we have another one now. I almost said, "Look, can you guys go make some babies? You're the best people ever." I mean, we have this one family. Just my wife and I are actually gone, and I came in here the other day, and this guy's walking through, and I said, "I don't know you. You're wearing one of my shirts." He introduced himself to me, and I said, "So, how did you end up here?" It's very odd for us to hire somebody I not know about.
Right.
I was like, "This is weird," and he said, "Oh, my mom is Patrina." I'm like, "Say no more. You're good."
Yeah, oh, you're one of the Johnson kids.
Yeah. You're good.
Well,
And lately we've had so many people quit their second jobs in this business, and we want them to have lives in this business, in the restaurant business, service industry. So many, especially in the back of the house, the kitchen staff and stuff, they go work at a pancake house or something in the morning, and they drive and they come here. So many times I see all these different hats and shirts in these different restaurants and stuff, and I think that just, I guess if you need the money, I guess but I asked several of them, wouldn't you like to work at one place,
Mhm.
stuff. So we give them the hours, we pay the overtime. It still beats the training of that, and we encourage them to bring their people, whoever, your family, your friends. If you know somebody, it'll be good for you monetarily, and good because you want to work with people you want to work with.
Mhm.
There's nothing worse than working with somebody you don't want to work with.
Yeah, that's very true.
Well, Kevin LaBarr, thank you very much for joining us today on edition number 19. Jim, we're coming up on a year anniversary. We're gonna have to have a big show whenever we get to, I guess, episode 26 will be that episode.
Yeah.
So you've been watching Merritt in the Morning with your hosts, Jim Merritt and Brad Klopfenstein, our guest today, Kevin LaBarr. Thank you very much to Alpsbrau Beer. Remember, so very, very Bavarian. Come into AJ's and ask Kevin LaBarr for it by name over and over again until he picks it up.
I'll do it. Actually, I want to talk to you about that.
Okay. Well, all right. We got other business to talk about. Stockyards Bank and Trust. Thank you very much. Thank you, Paula, very much for your support. Location 71st and Binford, Carmel, downtown Indy, Plainfield, and then St. Francis Hospital on the south side. We've been coming to you today from AJ's for a special edition of Merritt in the Morning. So thank you all for watching, and we will see you all again in 2 weeks. Have a great one.
Thank you.